And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. I'll shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget who you used to be. For just tonight, could you just dance the night away?
Sorry. Getting things fixed. There we go. So yeah, I think I'm like I recently still have so much more to work on with this character. I think this is a connection's cool. I have still so much to work on, but it's at least I'm doing better. So my character is at least not dying every 30 seconds. It's every 30 minutes, okay? I can tolerate that, I think. Is your ranger your main? Yes. Currently, I do have two other characters, but they are very young. One's a ritualist, and one is a warrior ranger. I did it so I could get the warrior skills, mostly, and because I already knew how to use the ranger skills, for the most part. Yes. As I say, I haven't played enough of the classes in Guild Wars 1 to know for sure what my favorite is specifically. In Guild Wars 2, absolutely. I am a main ranger all the time. I have a problem of not stepping out of that comfort zone, so I do have to work on that. Like, it's my favorite class in Guild Wars 2. It's, honestly, it was funny because Guild Wars 2, my ranger was actually my second pick. When I first started, I made an element for like an hour. I tried. I gave it a full hour, and then I'm like, fuck this noise. So I deleted it and made a ranger. So it's my favorite child, and I ran around with only I ran around with only a ranger because I wasn't used to games where having multiple tunes was beneficial. Because, let's be real, there's not that many games where having multiple builds, and Guild Wars 1 and 2 are both like this, where having multiple tunes is actually really useful. Also, this is a very small area. Is Dry Top really this small in this area? Because in Guild Wars 2, it's a full-ass map. Full location. But, like, when I first started, I didn't realize that having multiple tunes was beneficial. I didn't know that it was worth my time. So I was spending my time with my ranger, getting stronger, and being class envious of other people. I will not lie, I was that player. I had beef with other players being like, how dare you have an easier time than me? I didn't say anything to anybody, but I would mutter under my breath like an angry old man. Stupid guardian, how dare they heal so much better than me, and just walk off. like I didn't say nothing to the players. But I would definitely, my husband would catch me, we were friends at the time, mumbling under my breath like an old man. But for a long time, I didn't make other tunes. In fact, I didn't make tunes for different tunes for almost 4 years, give or take. I was literally stuck on my ranger, and that was my main character. I only started making other rangers and other abilities when I joined the main guild that I'm in right now, which is RIC. Like, when I joined that guild, then I started making other tunes because I became officer. And as an officer, it wasn't a requirement. Like, they didn't tell me it was a requirement, but other officers, I asked them, would it be better if I had more tunes that were different classes? And they're like, well, it makes some things easy, like you can mesmer people around, you know, because they knew I had a habit of going around helping players with open world and other things. So they were saying, well, yeah, at least make a mesmer if you want. They didn't pressure me into it, but I was willing to do the devotion. So I made other classes that I could use and work with for the sake of other players. I end up getting really good with my Engie. I'm not like a professional with my Engie, but I'm pretty good with it. Like, I'm competent enough that I can enjoy playing it. I have a mesmer that I'm familiar with a little bit, not a ton. Like, I would say I'm mediocre. Like, I can get around open world pretty comfortably, but I don't think I'm raid ready for it. Strike, maybe. Raid ready, no. But I definitely can run a raid with my ranger and my Engie if I wanted to. I haven't tried my Engie because I don't have a heal build for it. I prefer to have heal and a DPS builds prepared if I needed. So this place is a full circle. Okay, weird. Because the dry top in Guild Wars 2 is much different. It's not a full loop. It's literally like a flat surface, and there's Zephyrite shit everywhere. I'm not complaining. I'm completely fine with it. If I don't have to look at any more Zephyrite bullshit, I'll have a hobby for it. Okay, I like Zephyrite as like a nation and as a people, but Zephyrite buildings, someone teach them how to use hammers and nails, please. They can't build anything. Like, I have seen better stick, like, what do they call them? Oh, you know, people make little houses out of like toothpicks or like popsicle sticks, you know, those little crafts they teach you as kids. I've seen more kids make a more stable house than some of those Zephyrite make buildings. You can make a flying city, but you can't make a house that doesn't have like 30 like beams of like a bamboo sticking out every direction. I call bullshit, okay? Also, I just noticed that there's this over here. I don't think I've went into the falls. Yeah, let's go this way. We're just exploring and running around in the Maguma. But I have a guardian and a reaper or a necromancer as well. I think elementalist in this game is actually more compatible. I think like it's nicer than the one. I think that in Guild Wars 2, if you're competent with element, it's not bad. But I'm not very competent. There's a lot of requirements that it requires, and I don't have those requirements. I'm okay, but I ain't good, that kind of thing. But in this one, it feels like element's fun. I'm actually enjoying playing an element ranger. When I first started playing, when I was in the area, in Ascalonia's like pre-searing era, where they have like the tutorial on how everything works, I was actually very tempted to do ranger elementalist because I thought it'd be fun to shoot fire arrows because I thought it would make sense. You know, they seemed compatible. I should have went with my gut about it, but when I did the elementals train of like skills, I did not like the skills. I was underwhelmed by them. I liked the mesmer ones better. It's because I didn't have my skills in the right location to favor that. So I went with mesmer ranger, and I don't think I like the ranger mesmer type. It's good for farming, they said, but I have such a hard time with it. I don't see. I don't like. It didn't do very well. But I feel like this combo is really nice. I do think I like warrior. I didn't understand adrenaline. I still don't understand adrenaline, but at least it's a little easier to understand now than when I first started. Okay, we're almost there. This waypoint's not very far, is it? Do we... Yeah, the door's here. Let's just walk to the door. We'll just walk. I don't care. It's like... I hope the door's here. There's a waypoint here. Yeah, we could walk this. Yeah, we're good. I think before, if I'd been new to the area, this probably wouldn't be a very good thing, but I don't really care right now, since we're just literally walking into the next map. I'm also really glad that you can't accidentally leave your friends behind. Like, the NPCs and stuff. I also do find it really difficult to find players in Guild Wars 1. I wonder, I think what I'll do is I'll ask some of my guildmates in Guild Wars 2 where people tend to congregate. Because, for instance, in Guild Wars 2, people congregate in major cities, like in the Grove. Specifically, a lot of them are around the Divinity. A lot of them are around Charland, obviously Lion, and Radasoon. Grove doesn't have much people sitting around, and to be fair, I hate to say it like this because I am a plant person like myself. I am one of the Savarians. I hate to say this, but the Savarian city is also bad. It's second to Zephyrite's because at least the the Grove, the Savarians know how not to have poles sticking out everywhere. So when you're flying around with the sky scale, you're not getting your poor sky scale's eyeball poked out. You know, but they build in spirals, and spirals take so long to travel up on foot unless you have a mount, and even then it gets very confusing. I think it would have been better if the paths had been color coordinated, like you have the blue path or red path, that kind of thing. It also would have added more color to the grove that would have been different. Because, for instance, like one of the things I liked about Divinity is that Divinity has signs up. I mean, most cities have signs up, right? But Divinity has signs up marking each of their ramparts, the upper bridges. I don't know what you would call them. And each of them represent the different gods, so it's kind of cool. I think it'd been cool if the Grove had either had marked their paths with like. I'm trying to decide which way to go. I'm not real worried about fighting the jungle things. I just don't know which direction to head in. But they it would be nice if they were color coded and that kind of thing, indicating that, or different root systems had different flowers or mushrooms growing on them or something. But yeah, so a lot of people don't linger in the Grove. A lot of people go there, do the Grove stuff, and then they get the fuck out and they don't come back. Yeah, that's even considering the fact that I'm a plant person, and I really would have liked to have the Grove be more active and filled and everything. It's just not. It's not gonna happen. I can't tell. Like I said, I can't tell if I need to go up or around or down or what. There's a lot of things in this open space. There we go. But things like Holbrack, people like Divinity. Divinity is very lively, I think. Because that's the thing too. I think one of the reasons why Divinity is so popular is because of its crafting zones are really nice and easy. There's lots of NPCs running around. There's lots of easy transports and teleports and stuff. I think that's good, right? I think, and there's also the fact that Winter State happens in Divinity, so that's also another thing that happens with it. Holbrook has like Dragon Bash. I really wish that the Grove had a holiday. They don't ever host a holiday. Heck, I don't think. Yeah, I think because I think Divinity holds the luck one too, like the New Year's stuff too. I don't think a single holiday is held in the Grove. Not one. I kind of wish that there was something. I mean, I think you can still interact with NPCs there that I do, but there's no actual one that's actually held there. They could do something involving spring, that kind of thing, or like a holiday that specifically does flowers. Heck, do Valentine's, because you could make it to where the Grove starts growing lots of flowers for the season. And it becomes a tradition that the Savarians start mourning the dead and to show love and affection toward the people who are still alive. Why there's so much like spider? This stuff looks like it's been taken over by spiderwebs, and I don't know how I feel about that. That might be a little scary. But then you make it to where it's like a time to show appreciation to friends and family. And you can make it to where like there's different like things that happens that you can give. Like for instance, if they have like, you know, bouquets for females, and then you can also give like brooches or like flower pins or something for men, you know, that kind of thing. It might be really funny if in the story, oh my gosh, it would be hilarious if there's like, you could give a brooch if you're a male character, and you give a bouquet to a male character, like a char or something. They're just like, oh well, thank you. They just accept it, but they may have this moment of like, should I take it? No, I'm gonna take it. You know what I mean? Because let's be real, I've seen that happen in real life one time. It was the funniest thing ever. So a man's wife came in and she bought him a bouquet, and we were at I was working at Walmart at the time, and I was at the register, and so she bought him a bouquet of red roses, right? And here's what, she likes roses herself, and he buys her roses all the time for her work, and he buys her lilies and a bunch of other pretty stuff, right? So it was it was her birthday not too long ago, but something tragic had happened. I think he lost his dad or her mom or his mom. Maybe his mom I think he lost his dad, and his mom was being put into a facility because she wasn't all there anymore. Like, it's not that she wasn't like present. She just would forget what she's doing. She's got like, I don't think it was Alzheimer's. She would just forget what she's doing. Like, she would suddenly have this moment of, oh crap, I was cutting bread. I was making myself a sandwich, and he'd come in and find a sandwich half made. Like, she still remembered him and stuff, so I don't think it was Alzheimer's. But it was something involving her memory where she needed someone to watch her, like, so that she didn't make a mess. But she was still competent. She was still able to do her laundry. She was still able to do, like, TV stuff, like, manage things. She just kind of, like, would forget that she was doing things. So he'd been really bummed about that. He lost his dad. His mom's independence was going to be taken away. The mom wasn't even mad about the independence thing. They hired a nurse to take care of her, like a home aide, basically. But it made him feel bad because it suddenly is like it's starting to catch up to him that his age, he's getting older, his mom is getting older, it's that sudden realization of, oh, So his wife decided that he was really upset and was really bummed, and she was asking us and a few other cashiers what she should do to get him cheered up. Well, she didn't ask me specifically. I came back to the register and she came ready to check out. But she was asking my coworkers about it. And my coworkers told her, well, get him flowers. Because she had like soup, and she had his favorite snack. She had like a warm blanket. She had like a whole like kit, but she said something's missing. So one of my coworkers said, well, buy him a bouquet. She goes, well, what do you mean? She was like, buy him a bouquet. So she bought him roses, and he was in the store with her. This is the best bit, right? He was in the store with her. And she didn't know this because she wasn't with him. Like, they entered at different times. He came in to get lunch for work, and she was in there getting him gifts. So he ended up ruining the surprise a little bit. It wasn't intentional. He saw her at the register and saw that she had roses, and he looked at her and he goes, I would have bought you flowers if you wanted them. You didn't have to buy them for yourself, because she just got done paying. She turned to him and goes, oh, babe, these aren't for me. These are for you. He looked at her, and his face just went completely like flat-jawed. He didn't know what to say. He looked at her, looked at me, looked at everyone around him, and we're all smiling at him all big and everything, like, yeah, she did. That stuff. And he goes, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, I got you roses. I don't know if you like roses, but I like them, so I thought maybe you like them. Then she started pulling things out of her bag that we just put in there, and was showing him these stuff. I was like, oh, look, I got some movie to watch. Got your favorite popcorn. He's like, oh, I can grab my Reese's and we can, just to make my popcorn better. She goes, I'm already ahead of you. She pulls it out of the bag. Like, this whole time his eyes are starting to water, and she's like, I know you're having a hard time. I thought this would make you feel better. She goes, I didn't know if you'd like the roses or not. But she goes, but they make me feel good, and I love it when you bring them to me, so maybe, He started he hugged her gently, grabbed a hold of her, and he goes, thank you. He goes, this makes my day feel so much better. He was almost in tears, but he was trying to be a man and keep it in. But we were all giggling and everything about it because he clearly was having a hard day. But he walked out holding the flowers. It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. That man looked like he'd just been given the world and the moon on a platter all at once. He was carrying them and just smelling them the whole time. It was adorable. So my point being is, if they did something with the Grove, it'd be really fun if you could have that kind of moment with an NPC where you're like, oh, they're gonna just say something sassy about me giving them flowers, but them just being like, oh, cool. Because I don't think most men are gonna care. If you give them something, anything, you could give them a shiny rock and say, I thought of you. And most men are gonna be like, yay. If they like you, that is. If they don't like you, they're not gonna do that. But I don't know. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing. And it kind of feeds into the thing. But you don't have to make it Valentine's themed, Because I think Valentine's is too couple oriented, when it really could be a holiday about just showing love and respect to your friends and family, people you care about, that need a reminder that you value them, you know. Maybe even mix in like Mother Days and Father's Day into it too, so that it's kind of still there. Because I think almost every culture has a day that they honor their parents, you know. Because I know Guild Wars 2 is played by more than just Americans, you know. So you could clump a bunch of like appreciation based holidays into one and have them in the Grove. Because it does make sense for the Savarian to care greatly for appreciation, since they appreciate nature and they appreciate their opportunity to be able to live in the world they live, you know. Especially after they found out their own history, you know, and their own origins, it might make sense that they would be very appreciative that the world didn't turn on them fully, because that's another thing that could have went really sideways and everything went bad. The world could have turned on them immediately out of sheer panic and fear, instead of it just being a temporary panic in the Maguma. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. But like I said, I don't think there's any holiday that happens in the Grove specifically. Radisum has their super adventure time holiday that everyone loves. I'm not really good at that one. I got a little bit more into it this year when it was going on, but I'm not very good at it. I think I'll get better at it. I gotta look up some tutorials on how to do it, because I don't know how to do the frog bass. I think I really just need to fight with a friend. I need to go find a buddy and go do it, you know. Then, you know, Hallbreak has their Dragon Bash. I don't think Char actually has anything, now that I think about it. The Char City doesn't have a holiday either. They do have something holiday themed for the Char, but it's an entire map, and it's not the same thing. It's part of an expansion, you know. Therefore, it's not really a holiday for the Char. They could absolutely do something for the Char now that I think about it. But a lot of people go to the Char land because they like the vibe it feels. Because it feels kind of like... Is grungy the right word? Because to me, it feels like a metal war ground kind of place, you know? And a lot of people who like the Char really like how warlike it feels. Because it feels more like, oh, this is a place of like battle. And so it feels kind of cooler. So there's a lot of things you could do with that. Holidays-wise with that, too. I mean, for Pete's sake, they could have a holiday where it's about sparring, for Pete's sake, for the Char at least. Where it's about like, oh my god, imagine if the cathedral had a battle arena, kind of like the Roman cathedrals, you know, like when they had like the big things and the bullfighting and stuff. And then like it's in the middle where they're like maybe where their cauldron is, the big, I don't know what else it is, like the big reactor that they're burning stuff in. I don't know if it's like a place they're using for heating or power, or if it's something that they're using to burn scraps and melt metal. I can't remember. But they have like this big fire pit, and you go and do some achievements there. But imagine it's there, but a little bit above it, like on a platform, and it's an arena just there that you can fight other friends and foe alike. And it's meant to be a time for people to like roam out. Because well, you know what? Now that I think about it, they have an arena. Actually, I forgot about that. They do have an actual arena, and I think you can actually participate in that arena in the inside of inside the Black Cathedral. They could absolutely do something like that with Guild Wars as a holiday. And PvP and World versus World are really big things, like events. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of those myself, but the Char could literally have a holiday surrounding that. And so maybe XP and PvP during that time frame is being boosted, or there's kind of more like events similar to that. But they have like an actual arena in there. It'd be kind of cool if you could have some arena events where people are fighting each other inside that area. I think that'd be cool. That would make for so much more interesting interactions. Also, there's guilds that are like world versus world guilds and PvP guilds and stuff. And that gives them something to really vent out their frustrations. And that could be even the excuse as to why the Char have this holiday. Because the Char are warlike in the regards that they like fighting. They like combat. Being that they kind of resemble like big cats and lions, even though they're not cats, because they don't like being called that. But they're kind of like that in mentality, like fighting for dominance and stuff and proving their worth kind of as part of their identity, you know? So they can make this excuse that this holiday, is being used to help Char vent off their frustrations and keeping their senses sharp, but not necessarily being like negatively impacted, you know? It's not like they're going out and harming other people, but it kind of like helps dull their need for violence, if that makes sense. I think that'd be kind of cool. This also is pretty because this Maguma area is changing shades. It's going from a green to almost a teal color, or a blue green. It's interesting. I do like how some of the maps in Maguma kind of blend and fade a little bit. Just kind of thinking it looks nice. I don't even know if we're gonna get over like where this opening is. I'm trying to find the door because I don't. Maybe we are inside the falls, and this is just a very really big map. I don't know. It feels like such a long walk. There's so many trolls. Easy to manage, though. Got rid of one group. This is your take. Sorry, I was looking at his stuff, his stats. That burning is ridiculous. I'm getting all of the gold back so quickly. There's so many of these trolls, but they're not that bad. But I also think it's because I'm stronger than I was last time I was here. But yeah, I think that the only two places that don't have holidays is Charland and the Glade, the Grove, not Glade, Grove. I think that like that would have been cool. Oh my gosh, you know what'd be kind of cool though if they did the Grove one where you have to do appreciations. One of the things you can do is go to different statues or locations and show an emote to it. Like for instance, if you're a human, you can make it based off the race too. Like if you're a human, your goal is to go to divinity and bow before the god statues or something, that kind of thing, as an appreciation to all that happened, good and bad, kind of thing. And if you are a Savarian, you can go to nature and do that kind of thing. Or you can even make it class based, where it's like the necromancers are obviously in tune with the dead magic, so they would see. I'm backing off a little bit so I can get rid of that. They would see like going to graveyards and places where death matter and mourning, maybe even go to Ore, where necromancy is far more in rampant, both good necromancy and bad, you know. If you're an elementalist, you might go to more scenic areas where the elements are thriving and are brimming with power. Like a reverend might go to the mists and do more fractal based stuff, that kind of thing. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like you would show appreciation based off of your races thing. Also, this is really cool. Is that a full-on cart? Or is it just a cart in front of a house? Yeah, it's a full-on cart. white mantle stuff. I want this. Can we get this in Guild Wars 2? I want full carts where it's basically just a place of living, you know? An actual, like, it's like an actual home away from home type thing. Or just a decoration you put in your homestead that can be useful and interactive. I don't know. Are we going to loop back around to the main path we were on? I feel like we are. Or is it zigzagging around it? It feels like it's zigzagging. I swear, this place is worse than the Tangled Depth. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Tangled Depth is pretty bad, because at least there's things attacking you, but they're not that much attacking you. Alright, I think we've gotten pretty explory with it. I didn't get very far into the falls like I wanted to. But I did get a lot more of Tangled Roots sorted and looked through. And we got Dry Top done, and we did a little bit more back here. Alright, so we are going to move to the next game. We're moving to Guild Wars 1? No, Guild Wars 2. It's Guild Wars 2 in Sky.
And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. Shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget who